khosifm.co.za, and I'm coming to you live again on but again, so my YouTube page, which is the Khosi Sehwane live show, and the number for the studio is 064 548 7176. If you want to interact with me, let me know right now on that number 064 548 7176. Today I'm going to be having two guests in the studio, but they won't be here obviously. One will be Mr. Ronald Lekgabe, sorry. He's an aspiring politician, or he's an aspiring political analyst. We're going to be discussing this topic, me and him today, and later on today we'll be joined by Mr. Matsui Mungali himself, and we will be talking as well about what is it that he thinks about this topic that I chose today. Should we be mourning our politicians, or should we not? Should we be telling the truth, or telling the truth at that time sometimes is seen as speaking ill of the dead? So we're going to take an ad break first, and then from there we're going to continue our show, and then please, the number is 064 548 7176. If you want to join us and tell us, should we be mourning them? I'll read you one comment I got during the day, and like after I've posted this post, and then you will tell me what do you think. So we'll be back right after this. This show is brought to you by Sehwane Medical Services and Clinic. They are a private clinic situated in number 70 Tuefengesgras in Westview, Danville. They specialize on the following: primary health care, ailment diagnosis and treatment, including medication, wound care, family planning, well baby clinic, basic ultrasound, laboratory blood services, treatment of chronic illnesses, treatment and management of patients on ARVs, wellness screening, antenatal clinic, HIV services and counseling. They have a pharmacy on site, and they are doing CCMDD services as well, OHS clinic, circumcision clinic and abortion services. Their cell phone number is 064 548 7176 or 071 422 8576. Again, the address is 70 Tuefengesgras in Westview, Pretoria West in Danville. Cell phone number again is 064 548 7176 or 071 422 8576. Yeah, that is Sehwane Medical Services, our sponsor for today for this show. And if you want to sponsor this show, just give us a call on 064 548 7176, and you will be you'll be one of the sponsors of Sehwane Khosi FM and our shows. You'll be able to sponsor that, and and then we'll be able to advertise you as well. And then hello, so today, as I said, it's a Monday, and we are talking about should we be mourning our fallen politicians? I don't want to say comrades, I want to say politicians. As I said, today I'll be having two guests in the studio right now. The first one will be Mr. Ronald Lekgabe, and then he will be joining us. I'm going to call him now, and then he can be able to join us and then let us know what does he think. But first, tell me, 064 548 7176. Let me know what you think. Do you think we should be mourning our fallen politicians, or should we just be putting them in the history, where they are deserve to be? My name is Khosi. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Khosi FM. Maybe if you can introduce yourself a little bit quickly.
All right, my name is Mr. Ronald Lekgabe from Pretoria, yes, of course.
From Pretoria, yes. All right. And you're and what are you doing for a living?
All right. I'm a marketeer as well. I'm a political analyst.
Mm-hmm. So are you an aspiring political analyst, or are you a political analyst that is well established?
No, I'm just an aspiring
political analyst. All right. So today in Tatwaka, we are talking about should we be mourning our politicians that have fallen? We've been seeing Tito Mboweni he's passing over the weekend. We've seen a lot of passing. We saw Pravin Gordhan passing over some few weeks ago as well, and others who passed away before, Big Bota, PW Bota, and the rest of them. So the question today, should we be mourning these people, or should should we really be speaking the truth? And if speaking the truth means are we speaking ill of the dead, we need to know today. So the number is 064 548 7976. So, Mranak, I'm going to give you a chance in a minute. I just want to go through now my own analogy about this whole thing. How do I feel about this? And then we can take it from there. Is that okay?
It's okay.
All right. Guys, the reason I asked this question is because one, we had 94 in this country. We had 94, which has been a historic thing or a historic event that we as a country, especially black people, have to go through. And in that 94, we were not only transitioning from a system that was oppressing us for hundreds of years, but we're actually changing. It's like, you know what? It's like after a divorce, eh? It's like you've been married to this person for years, and then when you divorce, you don't just jump from this to that, and it's like normal. But you actually change everything, about yourself. You change everything. You leave the past behind. So that's what happened in this country when we had 94. And then we elect leaders. And then those leaders, they went into power. And when they were in power, the question was, we are in power for people that have elected you to be in power. And what did they do? What did they accomplish? Instead, most of them went into this thing for themselves. They didn't go into this thing for us, and when they're in there, they forget the masses that actually voted them in there. And it's very painful for me to always wake up in the morning and I see like I go to Shangwe, for example, over weekends to deliver medication. And I will go into places like PP1, PP2, Krizani there, and I will go through the JJ, somewhere in the JJ, or other blocks, and I'll still see that black people are sitting there with like no hope, my bra. And you look into these things and you're like, Mari, what kind of a life did we really vote for at 94? Did we really vote to empower other people, or did we vote to empower all of us at the same time? The apartheid system, why white people protect their own and they will defend their own, is because their own worked for them. You understand what I'm saying? Their own worked for them, and our own didn't work for us. Unfortunately, the previous white people who were there, Pig Bota, PW Bota, de Klerk, and the rest of them, they were working for the other white people who are still staying behind here, who are still benefiting from this system that we created for years to oppress us and to make sure that we are not going to be anything else but second-class citizens. But then it's so hurting to go to Twitter as well, and you get to Twitter, you see things like, oh, he was a selfless leader. Tito Mboweni was a selfless leader. Tito Mboweni was this Kaida. He was this. You see, Fikile Mbolo today, it's a great loss to the country. You see, like you talk about Pravin Gordhan, it's a great loss to the country. And you ask yourself, okay, what is it that he has done for this country that really will make us miss him or make us miss them? Because the objective of 94 was about black people. Finish in club. It was about us to be taken from where we were put by force to be taken where we're supposed to be, equal with white people. Not equal in the sense of getting to the same bank, sitting on the same bus, sitting on the same taxi if there's any, now staying in Denville or staying in some suburb somewhere. But it was more of economical impact, like emancipation. It was more of being given a chance to be a human being in your own country of origin, not even birth. Because they are settlers, they are from Europe, they came here, they took over everything, and here we are. But then you look into these leaders that we've elected, and you kind of ask yourself, Armari, did we really make a mistake or what? Did we really elect people that actually had our best interest at heart? Or did we just elect people who self-enriched themselves? You look at Tito Mboweni, for example. This man was in so many companies. People don't know this. This man was in so many companies, but that I'm going to give you in that you must go into it. But people, because this today I was just asking around, saying, listen, what do you think of Tito Mboweni? No, man, we have never heard of him being any scandal about him. The man was clean. Yeah, but you know how rich he was. We are not saying people mustn't be rich. What we are saying is that in that expense of you being rich, how many black people have you uplifted from your tenure when you were in charge of whatever? Tito Mboweni, we know, for example, He was the governor of the Reserve Bank. He was once a finance minister, and then I don't know if he retired officially or because he was now in Zanin in his farm somewhere cooking up a storm, entertaining people on Twitter. Because this morning on our morning show, we asked, what are you going to miss about Titombo? And most of my, like the two of my colleagues was like, we're going to miss his recipes, the tin fish and whatnot. But the thing is, one thing which came out with his tenure as the Reserve Bank, he blocked the State Bank. He blocked the State Bank. He didn't want the state having a bank because it will compete with the three major banks that are not owned by us, and the very same Reserve Bank is not even owned by us as well, which is foreign, owned by the Rothschild family. He blocked that, and he actually raised the bar so high that to register a bank, you need I think it was 250,000 rands. I think he made it more than that, just to make it difficult for people to actually register a state bank. That is the first thing. So the question will be, do we mourn such a person? Or do we celebrate such a person? Or do we actually chastise him? And is that speaking ill of the dead? That is the question. Pravin Gordhan, another example. He was in every pie as well. The irony of this whole thing is that you might love to hate Jacob Zuma. You might don't like him at all because of whatever that was being said about him. But I've never heard the man being in so many companies like what I'm looking at now for Tito Mboweni. Tito Mboweni was in, let me just give you an example. He was in Discovery Life. He was in Discovery Bank. He was in the TBCSA. He was in Nampek before Nampek fell. He resigned from PPC. He resigned from Gold Ashanti. But resign doesn't mean you don't get dividends. Resigning simply means you are no longer an active director or active member of that company, but the money still keep on rolling in. He was in Discovery Health. He was owning part of a medical aid. He was in Discovery Vitality. He was in Goldman Sachs. He had shares in Boweni Brothers Capital. And then he was in Malwana Properties. He resigned from Ifora. And then there's this one they called Shingangaye Industrial Holdings. He was in there. He resigned from Tomsa. And then he was in Malwana Consolidated Investments. And then he resigned from Malwana Efficient Fund. He was in Accelerate. That was the companies that Tito Mboweni died when he was director and part of. Nampek failed because of he was in there. I don't know what happened in Nampek and what, but that's the story for another day. I'm just giving a clear, just a simple scenario of who are the people we are dealing with, And when you're sitting down as a person and you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, I'm a billionaire today, but how many lives of black people did I really uplift? How many lives of black people did I uplift when I was a leader of a certain portfolio? When I was a minister of this, when I was minister of finance, did I allocate more money to BEE to uplift the very needy black people that we needed to do that? When I was in the directorship of these big multi-white companies, was advocating for black people to participate in those things, or it was just about me? When you die, what legacy do you leave behind? That should be the question that we'll be asking ourselves today. What kind of legacy are you leaving behind? And what must people say about you this time when you have passed on? Yeah. The number is 064-548-7776. And it's not only about Tito Mboweni. I'm going to chastise a lot of leaders because we talk about Bototon Buthelezi. Buthelezi, we know he was leader of Inkatha Freedom Party, for example. And Gaga, as we know, the thing is, I wanted to take out this thing of speak ill of the dead, but let's speak the truth for once. Gaga, we know he was a leader of Inkatha Freedom Party, and we know the wars in KwaZulu-Natal. We know the wars in the hostels here in Gauteng. Like we were told, you see, they are killing each other. We know the train shootings that were done by his own members. We know what happened in Wipatong because of his leadership. And now when that kind of person passed away, are we now really celebrating his life? Or should we just say, what, good riddance, thank God he's gone, hey, this man was this, and is that now speaking ill of the dead? People like Desmond Tutu, for example. Desmond Tutu was a radical person. He ran on the beach when it was the only white beach. He ran there just to be arrested. He was the Malema of that time. He was radical when Malema was still radical. He was radical, and He was out there trying to show the world until he got a Nobel Peace Prize with de Klerk and Mandela. Now the man came and said, "Oh, we're a rainbow nation, children of God, all of us, forgive and forget." And then that side loved him more than we did. You understand what I'm saying? So you must look into all these things and ask yourself, Mari, are we? And it's a lot of leaders that I'm going to be talking about. De Klerk, we know, and he was forced to end apartheid because he didn't have a choice. South Africa was being banned in this whole world from participating in sports, from exporting anything. De Klerk was a president at the time of Inkatha terrorizing the whole townships of this country. He was the one who was supplying weapons because his government was complicit. Obviously, it was not him giving people guns and stuff. Mara, we know what he knew what was happening in his government because the people who was giving people guns and pangas and whatnot were soldiers who painted themselves with a black paint that they must not be seen to be white in the dark. I remember this other documentary I was watching about that moment of Incat and everything else. They were talking. He was the kingpin in Thokoza Hostel. He was the leader of the Inkatha Freedom Zulus there. And he said one day, abamhlophela bazala bebafika la like masibabheka bebagcobisile lento enyama esikhumbeni sabo, like they put the black paint on themselves that they mustn't be seen. And the crates they were unloading from those hippos and whatnot, they were putting it there. And when I opened those crates, I saw machetes, I saw AK-47s, I saw any weapon that you can think of. And that came to me and said, "Aye, Mari, this I'm being given to destroy my own brother." And that was the time he said, "Nah, I'm no longer into this now anymore. Because you people are giving us weapons to kill each other." And those were soldiers. They are not just mercenaries. They were soldiers deployed from government. It's a lot of them that we can talk about. It's a lot of them. The only person, can we celebrate Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela's life? Is she worth celebrating as well? Or do you have her own scandals? Because the only thing we know is this Stompy thing, that she wasn't even involved in it. That she was absolved, but she was persecuted by the very same Desmond Tutu, asking her to apologize. But never asked P.W. Botha, who refused to come to the TRC, who told him, "I'm not going to do this nonsense," and was given a small fine. But when Jacob Zuma said he's not going to go to the Zondo Commission, he was given 12 months in jail. You understand what I'm saying? An animal farm, rules for others, rules for others. So yeah, I do agree. 063-064, 548 7176. Ntatalo ho abe dumela re I just ventilated it myself, so I know it's up to Khosi. Give me your stance, or what do you think about this whole thing? Tell me, maybe introduce yourself again and then let us know and let us listeners know, who are you? Where are you from? I know you're a political analyst, so tell me, what do you think about today's topic?
My name is Mr. Ronald Zakwave from Pretoria. So my stand with this thing that do you celebrate these fallen heroes? To me, we can't celebrate people who sold out the South African economy to the white monopoly from the get-go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can look, let me just make an example with Tito Mboweni.
Yes.
Because that's the breaking news currently. So Tito Mboweni was the economic advisor coming from a very high-profile university in the United Kingdom, and being taught everything about the new liberal economic policies and.
Yes.
So now, and then he was then in the office of Nelson Mandela, and he worked his way up to become the chief economic advisor.
Yes.
In Mandela's office, and then in 1991. That time of the Hodesa and the peace negotiations going to 1994. So 1991, Madiba went to the first Economic World Forum that he attended in Davos. And Madiba had a speech which said, we're continuing with the policies of nationalization of the banks, mines, land, and all the big industries in South Africa.
Yeah.
But what did Tito Mboweni do? Tito Mboweni took that speech, scratched all those paragraphs, and then he wrote that speech without consulting with the people who contributed in writing that speech.
Yeah.
the likes of Nelson Mandela, Neil Kanyas, and other activists. And then what did Tito Mboweni do? So in this case, Tito Mboweni was an enabler of the white monopoly capital that makes him a sellout.
Yes.
So what went this so? Because Tito Mboweni scratched that speech whereby Mandela was talking about the nationalization of banks and mines and so on.
Yeah.
And then Tito Mboweni rewrote the speech and said, we are not going to nationalize the commanding height of the economy. That's Tito Mboweni, because yes, was the advisor to the Nelson Mandela's office. And many years later, he was at the conference together with his chums, the likes of Old Mutual, Trevor Manuel, and other high-profile white capitalists.
Yeah.
And he said with his mouth, I scratched the ANC nationalization program.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because what I think they referred him in the United Kingdom, and then I think they bought him. You understand? And then we will go again on South African debt. You understand? Of which Tito Mboweni was there as the governor, minister of everything, that the minister of finance and so Mboweni said in public finances, he said public finances are severely overstretched.
Yes.
As the government owes a lot of people money.
Yeah.
This includes foreign investors, pension funds, local and foreign investors, banks, unit trusts, financial cooperation, insurance companies, public investors. You can name them.
Yes. Yes.
And then after that, we will fast forward to 2021, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
The minister also announced an increase of alcohol prices, where else we owe the IMF, money, a lot of money,
yes,
of which South Africa cannot pay back. Why? And you should ask yourself why the South Africa cannot pay back this money, because what can I say? We have over 7.9 million plus people, of which are unemployed. And if you can check, the government doesn't have money. And where does the government get money? They get money from taxes and everything.
Yeah.
And who are the taxpayers? The taxpayers are the people of South Africa. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that give the government money to continue improving the infrastructure of South Africa and so on. You understand?
Yes,
so when we have such a number of high unemployment, I mean, obviously we cannot pay back the debt because the government cannot collect enough money to pay back the IMF. You see. So, Tito Mboweni didn't do us good. So, and then we'll move on again onto the SAA. You see, to see that these people, they were not genuine with us Black Africans.
Yeah.
Tito Mboweni called for the closing of South African Airways, SAA.
Okay.
Despite the clear efforts to revive the airline into stability and strategic nature in South African economy. And imagine, when one minister, of which is responsible in growing the economy of South Africa, he says such way, just think of the black majority of South Africans, of which they are going to sleep without the bread and butter.
Yeah.
In the family. So it's very difficult to celebrate such people. You understand?
Yes.
And if you can check his speeches on when was it? 24 February 2021. Tito Mboweni went on a podium. I think it was the finance minister by that time. And then he went there and gave us a budget speech. And he failed to address the major concerns like the unemployment and adequately detailed plans to grow the economy. You see, so it's very difficult to celebrate these people. I don't want to mention the private Gordon and everything because you are part and parcel of the SAA to be sold. You understand?
Yeah.
and to implement all these retrenchments and everything. So we really find it hard to celebrate these people.
Yeah.
Uh,
My problem is that now we are being asked to do that. You can look into X now about Itombo, and people are like, the ANC. Oh, we have lost a selfless leader. We have lost a selfless leader. We have lost this person's. I'm like, okay, tell me something. What has this person done for the people of Deep Slot? What has this person done for the people of Atteridgeville or people of Soshanguve or people of, Mshongoville, where kids are born in squatter camp and that's the reality that they know alone. You know what I'm saying? These people are into each and everything that all the white monopoly capital companies, the moment they started giving these black leaders shares, they were breaking the struggle. Don't you agree?
I do agree. Like, definitely, I do agree. Because now, if you can check, the people of Soshanguve, the people of Tembisa and everything, if you can check their living condition, it's very painful, to see one African child on the street begging for 100, begging for others. They are just running around collecting cans, bottles of alcohol, and all those things. And then now we are saying we have a government that is responsible for the people of South Africa. But if you can say, these politicians of ours, they are not here to improve the livelihood of South Africans, but they are here to enrich themselves and their families and their close people, their close relatives, and so on.
Yeah.
Like, if you can check now, let's just look at Transnet, for example. The Transnet has collapsed dismally. You see, if we can check ESCOM, for example, it has collapsed dismally. Peter Mourn as well, he was one of the people who went on the podium and said, no, we cannot continue funding ESCOM because ESCOM is in a critical situation where nobody can save ESCOM. I mean, what's that? What's that?
Yeah.
We have black Africans here, if you can check, in Mshongoville, Atteridgeville, Mamelodi, and other places of South Africa.
Yeah.
People there, it's really hard for them now to have electricity, and they're buying electricity. Those people. You find one student of which is studying using a candle at this time. It's very painful. It's very painful for sure.
Yeah.
So I know these people, they've failed us dismally. Now there's GNU.
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
It's 100 days now of this GNU, and you should hear them talking about how they've accomplished this. I'm like, no, come on, guys. Come on.
Nothing.
I didn't say it.
Yeah. A lot of companies are retrenching people now.
Yeah, but then they were like, therefore, yeah.
GNU is going to implement a lot of jobs. We are now going to invest in infrastructure and so on. But if you can check, they're just having their own internal battles there. They've forgotten about these people of South Africa.
Yeah.
So it's just a mess.
Yeah, I've got a tweet from Barkima Fikile Mbalula, our famous resident Secretary General. I extend my deepest condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of late Comrade Itombo. His passing is a profound loss for South Africa. Question number one: what loss are you going to be feeling by a man who didn't? Who? What loss are we talking about? That should be number one. Number two, and he was a dedicated public servant who played a crucial role in shaping this country's economic policies. To benefit who? Question number two. Number three, as a former Minister of Finance and the first black governor of the Reserve Bank, Mbowen's leadership, intellect, and unwavering commitment to the nation left an indelible mark on our country. His contribution to South African growth and stability will be remembered with gratitude. I give to Babuaka growth because that Ronald, the thing that hurts me the most is that you hear a white person saying, if only we knew this is what you guys wanted, we could have given to you way before 1976. What's your analysis on that?
No, you see, when we touch the white issue, that one that they say only if they knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted the nationalization of everything that is in high command of this land.
Mm.
You see, but now, after they knew now, what they did, they went and adopt this fellow black politicians
Yeah.
so that stop. They can try to ease us and fool us and stop. And now they do what? They still redirect those entities to the white capitalists.
Mm.
Now, for example, they say they feel a loss. The loss. What is it? They're sending their condolences to the Tito Moini family and everything. Yes, like this thing will touch their hearts because Tito Moini was the key player. Was the key player in stopping all these things.
Yes.
For example, the what is it? The African, what is it? This bank.
African Bank.
Yes. The
Yes.
African Bank.
Yeah.
Now, Tutombo like he used to tweet, like, no, we need this, we need that, we need that, we need that, we need the state bank.
Yeah.
2 months, 3 months before he was appointed the minister of finance,
Yes.
he now tweeted that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
Because what he knew that if they implement this state bank, a lot of white people they were not going to benefit from it.
Of course.
And majority they stopped it, they blocked it because they said and they realized that the black Africans they were not going to pay how much 4% of the bonds.
Mm. Mm.
So as them they want us to pay more than 4% in all their loans, all our loans.
Yeah.
From the buying of the cars, buying of the houses, the bond houses, and everything. So we need to pay 4% or more. But now, if they implement this bank, now people are going to pay lesser, and then they won't be able to enrich themselves.
Yeah.
Because now the money will be now directed to the states, and the states will also probably subsidize their bond and their car loans and all the loans that they'll be having.
And don't forget,
Now,
this one, Ahori, we are being charged more than our white counterparts. That's not that's actually an open secret. And they knew the Reserve Bank when he was a governor that this has been a practice for a very long time. You know, I remember one of my friends came here and she was like, you know what, I need you to borrow me money because I want to take my car. I'm like, how much is the balance? I'm like, no, it's 65,000 rands, I believe. And he said to me, you know what, and I give these people 23,000 rands last week. But then they say because I'm behind, I'm actually owing them 65,000. And they're in my house now. They want to take the car. And I said no, and I closed and locked the gates. Few weeks later, he comes and say, you know what? No, keep your money. It's fine. Do you know what I've done? He's an auditor himself. And you know what? People would have thought about this way before. I went and I did my own forensic audit on all the payments I've made. I've paid off this car a very long time ago. These people have been taking my money for free. They actually owe me now. And I took all my documents to them and said, have a look at that. Get your forensic team to take a look at this. And then you tell me what you see there. I'm like, okay, so that is why they did not want any implementation of anything state owned, like a bank, or nationalize their own banks, because they knew if they would do that, they would lose the monopoly of being the only banks that we go to for money and for whatever, you know, and they can charge us whatever interest, especially they're looking at your skin color and say, okay, you are black, you're going to be charged this much. You are white, you're going to be charged this much. You know, and I always tell people, you should ask yourself one question. A white girl who is a waitress will be driving an Audi. Ne? But a black professional with a degree, 4 degrees or 3 degrees, will be struggling to buy her own first car. Why is that?
True. You know, Mr. Hoti, these people, they are smart. If you don't look into details, I mean, you'll be caught in their trap, you see. Yeah. When it comes to buying of cars and everything, you will pay and pay and pay and pay. When you thought you've done paying your car, and then now they will come to you and say, you know, there's a balloon payment. There's this term they use. They say it's a balloon payment. You see, they tell you your balloon payment probably is 60,000, for example, and then you need to pay this amount in 3 months.
Yeah.
They know that as a black child, you won't be able to pay
exactly
balloon payment in 3 months because now they know that as a black person, you have a lot, too many loans.
Yes.
You need medical aid, the bond house, that's the car, school fees for the children, and other things. And now they know that, okay, you need to pay 20,000 in 3 months so that this car will be yours, and then we give you the papers of this thing.
Yeah.
And then you fail, and then they come back, they take your car. Of which this balloon payment, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
And they give they put you on a trap, like they're saying, listen here, the whole amount will be this much, and then this is how much you're going to be paying. But if you take out 50,000 rands from the initial loan or initial amount, put it there as a balloon, your installment will go down a little bit. And then because we are so desperate to pay less, we go for that, then we fall for it. And then, it comes to that point, like we should just mention now. Yeah.
So, yes. It's tough. Not to tell you the truth, Mr. Hockey, it's tough. It's really tough. Now, going to the white lady and the black lady, you understand? One is in, they're both doing the very same job.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
They're doing the very same job. But if you can go into detail, you will see that, black Africans, they are suffering the most. For example, if you can check there there's a place in Main Lane, there was this other restaurant where a black child was complaining about the treatment and everything from the white lady.
Yeah, that thing. Was it that one in Main Lane?
Yes.
Bubble
so
something.
Now, if you can check, that lady, as he said, he was doing extremely fine. He was working and everything. But now the manager will come to you and say, "I don't like your hair. You need to remove these braids and everything and leave your original hair."
Yeah.
But if you can check, for what reason? You understand? But now they know that, okay, no, our politicians, they've given them power to continue and abusing our fellow brothers and sisters in this country, in their own land.
Yes.
But now that this is a problem. It's a serious problem. It's a huge problem of which we cannot tolerate, and we cannot continue celebrating these heroes. They call them fallen heroes and everything.
No, I don't call them fallen heroes. I call them past politicians, because that's what they were. I mean, a hero is someone like Winnie Mandela for me. That woman was a hero for me because she stood her ground. When Mandela was deviating from the very mandate of the ANC, she's like, I can't do this. I remember when she was released from Paulsmoor, when she was actually taken to Paulsmoor in that house there, because many people thought the man was in jail for 27 years. No, he was in Robben Island for 18 years. The rest, he was in a prison, and the rest, like half of that was in a house, okay? In a very beautiful house with a chef and a pool. And Winnie said, I'm going to stay with you there. That is them trying to buy you and then he divorced her, and then, because of Winnie's being radical, and because, the Mandela image was being tainted by Winnie, and they started this whole thing of Stompy Sipe, the Mandela Football Club, that little scandal that actually erupted that she killed that boy. And Desmond Tutu himself, my bra, he went to the TRC. I wish I could have heard his audio now. I could play for the listeners. He went to the TRC, and he was the chairperson, remember? And he was saying, please just apologize for just be the bigger person. And we was like, apologize for what? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't kill this boy. This boy was seen with the police. He was an informant. And I was just told, hey, Stompy is an informant. I never ordered him to be killed. I never ordered anything on this boy. The boys in the club, they're the ones who took it upon themselves, because this boy was selling their brothers out to the police. I didn't order anything. But because she was a bigger person in that day, Ronald, she went and said, I'm sorry for something that I didn't do. So you look into the struggle like that we went through as black people. Now we have to come and apologize to the very same people who put their boots on our necks. P.W. Botha refused to go to TRC, remember? He told her, I'm not coming to that little nonsense, that circus of yours. Was he given 12 months in jail? Was he given any sentence by any black judge? or any another white judge. No, he was actually fined. I think it was 12, 20 pounds, something like that, 12 or something, but very, very less. Because I remember when Zuma's thing was on that he should be fined. They were talking about the very same, because the law still there. It still says whatever pounds, I think 20 pounds or whatever pounds. But a black judge, by the way, a black judge went on the podium and tell them this is unprecedented. This will send a message that we are not being to be played with as judges. You know, he's going for 12 months 15 months in jail. Imagine when another white person who was having his boot on your neck was saying, I can't go to a commission. He was given a fine. And when as a judge, being given shares in companies, living a high life, living a comfortable life, you see it fit to take the very same old law and you work it against your own black people, thinking that you are showing that law is law. Whereas other people have got their own laws, other people have got their own laws. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, it breaks my heart so much to see us doing this to each other. Seriously speaking.
No, like thanks to the Oppenheimer, the Oppenheimers. You know, those people they've brainwashed Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
They bought Nelson Mandela, as well as other politicians. The current president of South Africa as well. This one, Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yes.
Those people, they were so smart, you know, and majority of the South Africans, they didn't see it coming.
Yes.
You understand? You know, when the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of South Africa was established, I mean, I think this thing was just to pave the way, just to try and settle all these things. You understand?
You know, the TRC was more of, let us be seen to be doing something. Hey? It was not there to do anything. It was just, you know, let's just do something to keep them quiet. You know, I mean, we'll sacrifice few whites that we find who were in the Flag Plus or who were in the police system. They will come and cry tears that are die, ask for forgiveness. And because we are so forgiving as black people, said, okay, sharp, let it go. You understand what I'm saying? And then it actually worked against it, because the TRC was supposed to be like the Zonal Commission did to Zuma now. They were supposed to say, you didn't deserve forgiveness. You deserve forgiveness. You don't deserve forgiveness. You deserve. But it was just there to be, let them see, let them be seen. Let us be seen to be doing something. You know, let's do something just to shut them up, because you know what, they are complaining too much. They talk, and they knew that this actually, there were still bleeding wounds out there that our people are still feeling, and they were like, actually, establish a truth commission, call few people, let them come and cry tears there and confess what they've done. Those ones are actually the small fish. They never called it clerk to a TRC, right? They never called a PW Border. He refused to come. They never called Big Border, the big kingpins. They never called anybody who was in that cabinet, was in that parliament before. They never called anybody who was negotiating with Mandela in secret at night. They never did. You know, they never did. And they called all these unknown people that you didn't even know who they were, just to be seen that they're doing something that will make us black people to be complacent and compliant and to be quiet.
So you see, this TRC, those were just the negotiation for the apartheid regime. Instead, that a guarantee of the general amnesty to be written into the interim constitution. Without it, it is unlikely that the apartheid government would have given up power.
Yeah.
You know, so these things were just, what can I say? Was just the part of a package of initiatives contained in the interim constitution that set the country on the road to becoming a democratic constitution state.
Yes.
And so that they can know that, okay, now South Africans are about to take over, and then we just have to know, and they just have to assure us that we are on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
The rest was just
you know
just a
they're always praising this thing of saying, oh, South Africa's constitution is the best. It's not. It's actually the worst. Do you know why? Because it protects the interest of the oppressor more than the interest of the oppressed. The whole, the whole point of starting off, you know what, when we were fighting, We are fighting for this studio, for example. It's my studio. I started from scratch. You came and took it over. I remember this lady, Tumimuraki, before she was fired from Jacaranda. You know what she said? The reason why she was fired there was this. She said, at the moment, this democracy at the moment is expected to go this way. A bully takes my bicycle, and then I'm asked to share that bicycle with him. You understand what I'm saying? And this caused an uproar on the white community that, hey, and apparently there was a furniture shop here in Pretoria that was advertising for years on Jacaranda, giving them millions. I don't know where they get money from, but they were advertising on Jacaranda. They threatened to pull out from Jacaranda because if they didn't fire the girl. But then she was speaking the truth. Listen, we were done for. We were done for badly as black people. People must never forget that part. We were done for as black people, but talk, it was not nice to live in this country. When you walk on the streets of Lichtenberg, our very small town in the northwest now, you walk there and a white kid can just come and spit on you. As an elder, my father would tell me those stories. You just walk there, and when you're walking on the pavement, some little white boy comes in front of you. You have to step away and let them pass because they are your bosses for tomorrow. They are the bigger ones than you. The main factor, you have to walk with a huge book on you called the Dom Pass or the Pass book, where a policeman can just harass you anytime they want. They can just take that thing from you and check if you are there legally in your own country, by the way. Are you in the city that they've built legally? For the fact that we were put in townships, for the fact that we're not given proper education, our mothers were taught how to become maids and how to become gardeners, my fathers were. Last week, I mentioned something like our mothers were told you're going to go up to grade 2 only to know how to read and write Afrikaans and to write your name. That's it. Then from there, your job is to be a maid for the rest of your life. So our future was was determined by other people. 94 comes. All our hopes and aspiration is we need a better life like these people are living. You understand what I'm saying? And what do we get? We get leaders like Mandela, who compromised while he was still in jail. Who he was told that he's a brand. And Winnie Mandela is intellectually the bad side of his brand. He cannot have this person because he's going to scare away investors. He's going to do this. By the time you become president, this woman is going to take you down. The brand Mandela has to be put out there. One day you'll be on top. You'll be on their money. He's here in our money now. One day Mandela name will be known the whole world. But this woman must go. Because this woman is not good for your image. She has to go. And he agreed. And he lost the very last line of what the ANC really stood for. And then coming down, we have people like Ramaphosa, who are now president, who has done the exact same thing that this man Mandela did by compromising and now creating this so-called GNU, which is not a GNU actually. It's actually a coalition between the two parties. They are. Last time I was saying this on one of our groups in around here. Wait till maybe people don't understand, and you'll call it a conspiracy theory. It's fine, but look at this. The ANC was in power in Cape Town, Western Cape, for one term. Remember, and all of a sudden, DA just won the Western Cape. They never lost. They are win that province 60%. Way high. Them alone, fine. And you look at the demographics of Western Cape, there are more people there by population. Coloureds are the most population there. There are many there, right? Followed by the blacks who are in Khayelitsha and Langan, whatever township there. And then comes the very minority white people in Cape Town. But the DA is not even led by a coloured person. There is maybe 1, 2, 3 councillors of coloureds in their coloured areas. But then in the higher structures, there's no coloured in parliament from the DA side, by the way. And there is no, and you ask yourself, how did they reach that stage? You understand? But then the question will be, what if in CODESA there was an agreement that, listen, you will take the whole country for a term, but then the Western Cape must be reserved for this. The Western Cape must be reserved for this kind of people. And we will say, yes, the DS won, because people will not be suspicious of what we're doing. So we will say, no, the DS won this province outright, and it keeps on winning it up until today. We'll establish Orania. And any of you will go to Orania. You know, Mandela went to Orania. He was sitting there. He went to the... Imagine going to a grave of a man who, you know, created apartheid, and you sat with his wife and you drank tea, and everything is so hunky-dory, everything is fine.
No, speaking of Orania, Mister, that's the most painful part. I mean, after the 1994 promises that the people, our leaders, have given us, they've promised us the promised land and everything. But now, this is just a clear picture of what our leaders are up to. You understand?
Yeah.
They don't care about us. What they care about is the white capitalist.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now they say Orania is the white only. You know, they call themselves in the last African only town of Orania local leaders won that when the general election could be hasted what they see as the country in development. That's when we are voting. You understand?
Yes.
Now, the white separatist town funded by the members of the Protestant Afrikaner speaking minority as an enclave in the post-apartheid South Africa and has kept itself to it during the campaign. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, and if you can check the numbers there, it's just they have only 2,800, if I'm not mistaken, community people there. The community is only 2,800 over the black nation of almost 60 million people. But what does the government do? Nothing. The Cyril Ramaphosa is quiet about it, but you know what's happening.
No, the thing is, the compromises that were made, they were made for their own. I don't know what these people are promised. Hey, I have no idea what they were promised. I don't know, guys. Tell us 064-548-7176. Tell us, please, on WhatsApp. What made our leaders compromise so much? What made our leaders compromise so much? WhatsApp, how? Send it to me now on 064-548-776. As you know, we are coming live on www.kosifm.co.za and www.holdings.co.za/kosifm/. And we are coming to you live again on our YouTube page, which is the Kositiles On Live Show. I can see people have joined in and watching the live stream. Please send us those comments as well on that chat. What made our leaders compromise so much? You know, Samara Machel said something on that day, Ronald. The day you see white people praising me, know that is the day I have betrayed you. Because there is no way in heaven that any white person will praise a black person for good leadership. Like they were, like Big Botter's son was thanking the ANC for electing Ramaphosa. Life, thanking the ANC. Because they knew that this one is our protege. This one is actually one of us. The moment the white person calls you a good person, a good black, know that you are gone. You rather run that time, run like the wind. Is you heard what you heard what Panzal Sufi said last time. He said something like, "I'm gonna be a good black." That's one thing which I've said myself. I'm not going to be a good black, because the moment you become a good black, it simply says you are not going to jump on our tune. Because what is happening in this country at the moment, and not if I'm lying, these people are expecting us to enjoy democracy on their own terms. Am I wrong?
No, you're right, Mr. You're right, Mr. Hockey. If you see a white-black person being celebrated by white, meaning that you just took a piece of cake from their plate, you understand? And then, meaning that now you are now a puppet. You are now a puppet of the white minority. Meaning that when they say run, you run. When they say sleep, you sleep. When they say no, you don't ask why, because you took a piece of cake.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yes.
this is what our politicians are doing. Sometimes they might blame Malema. They hate Julius Malema. I'm not an EFF member,
Yeah.
but these people, they hate Julius Malema because of he doesn't accept anything from them.
Exactly.
You understand? They try by all means to counter attack, to attack him and to say this and that and that. But if you can check, there's no solid evidence that Julius Malema has been charged with. They've tried with the VPS and everything and so on. Now there's Palapala. There's Malema with the VPS. There's now Palapala Farm.
Yeah.
If you can check, if Julius Malema was found guilty on the that VBS bank, surely by now he will be in prison wearing yellow uniform.
Yeah.
But now there's
yes, what hurts me the most about that issue of Julius Malema is when the boy was kicked out of the ANC because he was radical more than what Mandela and the others have already compromised upon. And they called on Mandela and said, listen, when this boy of yours is getting out of hand, call him back, rein him in, and then rein him in here now, because we're going to lose a lot of, the good work we've accomplished. Have you ever, the talking points of the white communities like this. You know what? We just need to work together for the communities. But then when we touch this thing of the past, it's like, no, we can't go there because you know what? We have moved on. No, we haven't moved on. You have moved on. I didn't move on. I still have scars, my bro. I still have to, I remember I saw my father coming home, being beaten by police because he said he was a comrade in Botswana, from Botswana, homeland that was created for Botswana only. He came because he was from here. So, whenever they come in for mine work, they will always, they will meet other comrades and they will talk. When he get home, he was playing with this other gentleman in front of our house. I'm a comrade. And we are already been told, indoctrinated that comrades, they kill people with necklaces, they put a tie around you and they burn your house and all that nonsense. And this guy's wife went to the police and reported my father. Within a minute, there were 4 or 5 cars coming to my house to pick up my dad. And he was beaten to a pulp. When he came back home, my sisters were tending on the wounds on his back and they were crying. I was still a kid, man. I was like, maybe like, 5 or 7? But I could see that something is wrong here. You understand what I'm saying? And then you kind of look at that kind of system that, it was putting their boot on their neck or on our necks. And for our leaders to compromise so much, it's just amazing. One thing I'm always saying is that Mandela should have refused that Nobel Peace Prize. Firstly, on his own. Secondly, with the clerk. They should have refused and said, nah, I don't want that thing. Why must I give him peace prize for? That is them trying to silence him. Say, listen, keep quiet. Because I know that little medallion comes with some money, right? I think it's $1 million or something like that. That's the first thing. To himself went and got that thing. Imagine they're sitting, I don't know what example they're trying to show that, forgiveness, South African forgiveness. Here we are forgiving each other and we're going to live forever nicely, blah, 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 blah. But remember, we are the ones who were always saying sorry to people who didn't ask for forgiveness. Yeah? We are the ones who are always saying, hey, let's work. Rainbow Nation comes with that thing. Rainbow Nation, let's do this. You understand what I'm saying? And then we are the ones who are always, shouting this reconciliation and whatever. Because our leaders were bribed with company shares, were bribed with money. They were given all those things. And whiteness is still being protected. I'm going to read something here. I just found now. PW Botha refuses to testify before the TRC. Ne? Just bear with me a little bit. Former President PW Botha declared that he would never testify before the TRC. He also stated that he will never apologize for apartheid, and he called the TRC the farce, unforgiving assault on the Afrikaner by the ANC-led government. Botha, who became Prime Minister of the Republic of South Africa in 1978 and later is President from 1984 to 1989, made his comment in a written statement issued after a private meeting with the chairperson of the commission, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The meeting was arranged after a series of witnesses have told the commission that Botha had personally ordered state violence during his tenure. Botha claimed that he had never been associated with blatant murder, but conceded that there might have been situations that his authority would have been stretched a little bit. In his 10-page statement, Botha believed that true reconciliation would be achieved by closing the book on the past and moving on as a nation. His statement was a clear contradiction of what the TRC stated. That's exactly what we get. Every time we speak this thing, man, let's move on. Hey, forget about the past. Hey, man, the past put me in a township, my bra. I still pass by Alexander and I see people poverty there. I just forget about the past and just move on because well, now you are saying so. So people are supposed to enjoy this democracy on your own terms. Like imagine. And this guy was never, let me just check. I want to check if he was fined. If he was ever fined and how much was he fined for not appearing.
I think it was 20,000. I think it was 20,000.
Is it?
I'm not sure. I think so, because he really refused to cooperate.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yes, he really refused for sure. You know, I think the committee spokesperson and the justice minister, it was Dullah Amar. You understand? Because those people, if you can check, those are the Indians. You understand? And other like the group of white people.
Yeah.
So obviously they do understand each other and
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me just
because now yes, Peter Botha refused to obey. You know, and Mr. Botha was defied the law and like signals he is above the law. That's what he said.
Yes.
He said, I'm above the law.
Yeah.
So we want to make it very clear that no person in this country, no matter what office such person occupies, is above the law.
Yeah.
You understand? That's Omar reading the statement sent by P.W. Botha, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You know, funny that you actually mentioned, Bo, these Indians who were doing this thing, who were doing, what is this thing? That you just mentioned now. Listen to this statement I just got now. January 7th, Western Cape Attorney General Frank Khan on Wednesday announced that former state president P.W. Botha would be prosecuted for failing to obey a subpoena to appear before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission last month. Khan told a news conference that throughout the consideration of this matter, Botha's personal circumstances has weighed heavily on him. This is a state attorney, my brother. This is the NPA of now, of today. Listen to this. You know, some people were born with this privilege and it's beautiful, eh? At least they were able to be spoken for by the state attorneys, other than other people that Msholo Mdimwene was thrown in jail. Whatever his sickness was, whatever his age was. But listen to this. He's almost 82, and I quote, all right? He's almost 82 years of age, and no attorney general in any civilized country likely decide to prosecute a person of his age, given Mr. Botha's medical history. Wow. Wow.
Those are the people that are funding this party, you know.
Yeah.
Those are the people of which they are founding this the government of ANC, this government of ours.
Yeah.
So that shows us till today that our leaders are captured.
Of course, they're captured. Yes, they're captured.
There's nothing we can do.
I'm not going to mourn for these people. I'm not going to mourn for any of them. I'm not going to even celebrate it because what they've done for us, you know, it's a pity that we're in this stage, Murenaga, where now we are at each other's throat as black people. And these ones are watching and say, Bon, where the hell do you think they will end up? Because at the end of the day, they were supposed to come here and radically change a black person's life. Not just continue the same status quo, not just even make it worse, but actually making me now become, the victim of my own democracy. That, you know what, things have been made so difficult for us. Again, hey, let's just give them back the government. There's people now in the DA who says they want this white government to come back in because it was better than what we have now is much worse than what we have in apartheid. I'm like, okay, how worse was it, by the way? How worse was it? Did you even guys live through the apartheid era? Did you even see what was happening there? No, you did not. Yes, I mean, imagine a whole attorney general. Zuma is the same age as Botha was when he was prosecuted for not appearing at the Zondo Commission. He's still sick. When he was released, Membra, on medical parole, there were so many questions from the Helen Suzman Foundation to Freedom Under Law to the DA itself to probe and question why was he released on medical parole, blah, blah, blah. The one that actually, who actually admitted that he actually, yes, sometimes his authority was stretched to a limit where he ordered hits on black people, was compromised so nicely. To say no, he's almost 82, and no attorney general in any civilized country likely decide to prosecute a person of his age, especially given Mr. Botha's medical history. Yeah. Continuing. Khan said he had considered all the circumstances, including the voluminous volume upon which the TRC wished to question Botha at the public hearing, and had a question about in public hearing, and had decided that a prosecution was warranted in law and in public interest. Ne? Botha would accordingly be charged in the George Regional Court. He would be summoned to appear on January 23rd. Khan added that the TRC has not decided to press charges in relation to media references to its standing, and there will be no further charges. But we had our own president being thrown inside a jail cell for 15 months. For appearing, for failing to appear because he asked the judge to recuse himself. This is the democracy that these people is giving to us. This beautiful constitution that it was given to us. We have this beautiful. That's why the DA is fighting to keep that book alive, because they know that 99% of that book is protecting white interests, and no one else. It pains me, Minir. It pains me a lot.
No, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Because now, if you can check, when you are saying about what you are saying about Jacob Zuma, that he was on the same age as Botha, but then he was arrested. They say all those terms that they use. What?
Yeah.
That's what's keeping my mind.
Yes.
But now they say Zuma refused to appear before the Zondo Commission, and then of which is that is going to be arrested, and he was arrested.
Yeah.
You see, and PW Botha as well, he didn't appear. So I asked myself, like, what's the difference? Maybe it's because of his skin color.
Yeah.
And the fellow leaders of which they are captured as well. They were actually, these people were just following orders.
Yeah, they were. They were
following orders.
Yeah.
From these investors of South Africa, the Oppenheimers and all these other people who are funding and investing and looting money out of the country. So they just say to this police that you need to arrest this person because he's a threat into this economy.
Yeah.
Why? They became angry when Zuma signed that thing of the BRICS. After Zuma signed that BRICS thing, now everything went left. Now Zuma was accused of this. Zuma was accused of state capture,
corruption, and
corruption and everything. Because they realized if we let this guy continue, surely he will take everything. Because Zuma was just about to take over the country.
Do you remember the mining charter? That mining charter was radical, my brother. That was a real. That was the beginning of what we call Habare reorganization of a mine, where he said, Jacob Zuma in that mining charter, 30% of these mines are going to fall on the hands of the black workers, not even the black elite. Where you will see Ramaphosa now owning on a black workers who was mowed down under his orders. Not Ramaphosa, before, but Botha fell at 12.5. That was going to be a little dent, not even a dent, but a drop in an ocean of lawn meal. But they were mowed down for that. And then Zuma comes with this thing, Ari, 30% of the mines. Who was in the front, striking against that thing? Musi Maiman, our very own black leader of the DA, who was called a failed experiment by the very party that he led. And he was the one up there saying, this is going to scare away investors. South Africa economy will tank. The rand was falling all over the place until Mukonyana Bari, if it falls, we'll pick it up. We are tired of always hearing about this rand. The rand is going to fall, the rand is going to do this and whatnot. If it falls, we'll pick it up, it's fine. Do you understand? Because we're in the mercy of this so-called markets, which doesn't benefit any black person unless the connected few. But like Butito Mboheni, Bo Pravin Gordon, who had shares in each and every company you can think of. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So we have been duped.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you see, like, ultimately, this the mining charter, the paper paints a balanced picture of acknowledging the charter as valuable. You know what Jacob Zuma did. But what is it? This valuable was a contribution while calling for a holistic approach to the industry growth. You understand?
Yeah.
So, like, this thing was to emphasize the need for constructive engagement among key stakeholders and acknowledgement to the unique South African content and the adoption of the broader ESG principles effectively foster both transformation and sustainable development of South Africa, of which even that was going to empower blacks, you understand? But you see this thing that goes with empowering black people.
Yeah.
That's a poison to white.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a serious poison to white. You see, because whatever one's view of the mining charter, you know, the necessity and importance of the broader ESG and the inclusivity requirements and practices they were quickly becoming one of the most important issues facing the mining industry worldwide.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
But now coming to South Africa, it's just another thing. You understand?
At the moment, Bebra, we have been dealt a very raw deal by this compromises that these people made on our behalf. And I remember Gwede Mantashe, still young, Ghana Gwela Kodesa, he said something about guys, we had to give up something. When they were asked, what about the economic policy, brothers? Guys, we had to give up something. We had to give up something. I've got the whole Codesa document. It's a huge document. I've got it here. I want to one day just interrogate the contents of that thing. I mean, I hope I'll send it to you, then maybe we can just peruse through it. And then one day we can have a show again and talk about this thing. And, read all those terms and conditions, the sunset clauses, especially the one that was infused in the Constitution, the Section 25 of property laws. Imagine we are fighting for freedom. Freedom to do what? To be in the same bus with a white person? Or freedom to own my land back? Because that was the whole point of the struggle that we have to get our land back, get it done. Then we are done. You understand what I'm saying? But at the moment, we have a constitution that's supposed to be the best in the world, right? That says property rights are protected. Meaning the land that they own can never be taken by anybody. And your media will lie. We, the media, will lie to you and say, no. Jacob Zuma refused the 30% of the EFF when EFF said, no, actually, he told the ANC to accept the EFF's deal. It was revealed now last week. He actually told the ANC, you need to accept the EFF's deal, then we can do this land thing as soon as possible. That is why now the men's problems began, because he was really... Remember, the RET is not a faction in the ANC. People don't understand that part. RET is a policy of the ANC adopted in was it Nazareth when Ramaphosa was coming in 2017. It was adopted way before that. Sorry, and then he came in and it was re-adopted again. 2017. That RET is a policy of the ANC. But because already the forces at, already infiltrated the ANC, they made it seem like and look like and actually put face on it as a faction of the ANC under Jacob Zuma. But Esmakhashile were put as the face of RET. They were called RET Force. Even Malema himself, the one I trust, we beat the RET Force. I don't know what the hell does he take that from. Because he knows RET was never a faction, but it was always a policy of the ANC, adopted in conference.
True.
Yeah.
So it's just a mess, Mr. Hossi. I mean, our country is just a mess. Our leaders, they put us in a mess of which now they cannot find a way out. You understand? Because they've taken a piece of thing. You understand? Speaking of that mining charter, that thing. After that Marikana massacre, I mean, if you can check, like many years down the line after that massacre, I mean, like South Africans still demanded justice for Marikana massacre victims. That thing, if you can check, it dragged long. Even though now currently maybe they say they are attending to it, but it's just they're just brushing on top. They're just brushing on top so that they can just get it.
The worst thing about that is that the recommendations were never implemented, by the way, of that commission. Yeah. And it was harsh against an outpost. It was never implemented. They were actually questioned by white people that why should this judge Krigela, was it Krigela or who? Why should he do this? Because they knew that if this thing can go through, our little protege that's supposed to take over this elephant called ANC is going to be compromised. He can't be. So you need to protect him at all costs and discredit that commission and just, say, just recommendations, they don't bind. Mara, against Zuma, they were forced to be made or bind on Jacob Zuma. Mara, this one, no, they're not binding. What we'll see as time goes on. It's my heart bleeds, my bro, every time I think of this, because I do know some of us came here and we thank God we're able to push something through and we're able to get something for ourselves and our kids, that our kids cannot grow like we did. You understand what I'm saying? But how many of us, my bro, can be able to say that? To say, okay, listen, now we are going to do, now at least I can now taste the fruit of democracy. I can taste the fruit of this freedom. How many of us can say that? To be honest, how many of us can say that? Not many of us can say such a thing and be bold and really say, yes, at least we can see the fruit of this democracy here. None of us can say that. Not many of us. Still living in poverty, still using 5 taxis to go to a job in a suburb that's going to pay you 2.5. Half of that is stays in transport. Half of that will go to Mashonsa because you cannot cope with for the whole month. You understand what I'm saying? Instead, we didn't say they must give us their houses. No. We just said to you, let us be equal. You know what should have happened was, 94, instead of building RDPs, you don't do that. You build proper houses for black people. Not RDPs, proper houses. With enough rooms, proper housing, bro, like we are staying in now. You're supposed to have done that in a township. That was going to be beautiful. Tokyo Sohwaleke, remember he came in as a minister of, what's this thing? Of human settlements. He actually is the one who actually changed that structure of that old ugly RDP house and put something very nice that actually was more appealing and more, respectable looking like. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He also installed like water, toilets, geysers, proper electricity, proper infrastructure. But now when who is that? The President Cyril Ramaphosa, the current president, when he was coming in to power, I mean, he went. I think he promised people how many? 1 million.
Yeah, and
this government is just a joke. He promised people 1 million houses till today. When he goes there, he says that it's impossible to build 1 million houses because we don't have land. We have a lot of land. If you can check, we have a lot of land. That's where they can place people. They can build houses for our fellow South Africans, of which they are in need. You understand?
Yeah, no,
and
understand.
If you can check, even the government, like even today, they've released a statement. They've released a statement not so long talking about we won't be experiencing rain this year or anytime soon, but we might experience rain next year, January,
Yeah.
of which the rain is going to damage. It's going to be the most, it's going to be the rain that we've never seen. You know, the rain that is, you know, the weather, the current situation that is happening in USA currently.
Yeah.
That this hurricane.
Yeah.
They say we might experience that hurricane in South Africa currently. But come and tell you, the South African government, they won't do nothing.
Yeah.
Now they must look at the proper places where they can remove people in rural areas where the landscape is not properly, what can I say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where the land is not properly safe for them.
Yeah.
But they won't do nothing. They will just wait for that rain to come and kill people, and that's when they will just trying to run around and saying, "Yeah, no, we are saving people. We are."
Yeah. Maybe, you know what? I was just, I want to thank you so very much, Mr. Ronald, for being here with us on Khosi FM, because I want to give another political analyst a chance to wrap it up for us, because you're going to be left with 30 minutes only. So I want to give it to him to wrap it up for us. And I want to thank you, sir, for being with us today and for really sharing us your wisdom. And I hope this is not the first and last time I get it. This will be an ongoing thing. Whenever you see a poster, I'll send it to you, and you want to be part of it, let me know, and I'll put you in there.
All right, not a problem, Mina. Thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners. Mina.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Yeah, that was Mr. Ronald, political analyst, aspiring political analyst. Ronald, let me just call him Pila. The number is 064 548 7176. If you want to still talk to us, again, that Ronald Lehobe, yes, that Ronald Lehobe from, he is actually a political analyst, aspiring one. So, you know, Musna, I don't go for the well-seasoned, you know, I would like to have Buntadas Kakan here, but I'd rather we give people who are aspiring, you know, to come in and say something, at least. But now I'm going to call Mr. Machoi. Mr. Machoi Mungale, repella this thing, and then we'll be done at around 9:30 exactly. So the number is still 064 548 7976, still coming to you live on www.khosifm.co.za. I hope that you guys are going to stay with us up until we are done. Mr. Machoi, Dumela Khosi.
No,
welcome to Khosi FM, and please greet the listeners.
Good evening, the Khosi FM listeners. This is activist Machoi Mungale, and then let's engage. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Machoi, I think we should just come and just jump into it. You have seen the poster. The poster, should we mourn or celebrate our fallen politicians, past up until PW border, up until now. Pravin Gordhan is dead like few weeks back, and then Mr. Barkimang Tito Mboweni just passed by here this week, or like over this weekend. What is your take on that?
Well, good evening, Khosi, and your listeners. We are Africans. When I read the topic for tonight, it says, should we mourn and celebrate?
Yes.
Now, there are two things there. It's African to mourn. It's African to mourn the deceased.
Yeah.
Because the individual belongs to a family, relatives, community, society, residents, and a nation.
Yes.
So it's normal that as Africans, and I believe it's all human beings from different continents, whether from different religions, races, we mourn when a person has passed on.
Yes.
So that one, it goes without saying. Even when the individual did cause harm to some people, but we must mourn the passing on of a person, because in every man,
yes.
And we always live the hope that whoever does wrong, we keep on engaging him, sending different individuals from families, from the community, different professions and religions, that the person must become a newborn, change from his old ways of doing things, and becomes a new person. So when the individual passes on without that process of being born again,
Yeah.
will mourn that he has passed on without having been changed and become a new person.
Okay.
But at times, you will say this individual started to be naughty and notorious from the age of 14, the age of 18, the age of 16, whatever different age. And from those ages, yes, he has caused pains and sufferings to many souls. But those who mourn him at family level,
Yeah.
they will do that remembering him or her when he or she was born.
Yeah.
And they will cry for that wasted human resource.
Okay.
So the mourning is part of us.
Yes.
And mourning for a person who has passed on, it's another form of therapy, so that we don't mourn forever. Le Bible ya re re lle mare re sa balla jaaka bahitane. And ga e re re lle le ba ba siameng fela. Le ba ba sa siamang ka tsholohelo ya gore ne re gopotse gore ba tla fetoga mo tsamaong ya nako.
Okay.
So we must always mourn.
Yeah.
Now, you bring in political figures. You know these political figures, some of us, we know them before we took over government in 1994. They were our brothers and sisters. We shared in the same trenches, the same struggle, political ideology, the aspirations and dreams of South Africa, which is supposed to be united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous.
Yeah.
That is the desired goal for the creation and our involvement in the struggle.
Yeah.
So some of them, after getting into government, some went there to lead a government. And whether they will then pursue the agenda of changing the economic system, because we don't have a problem. In actual fact, you will realize that people don't have a problem with a military state, an autocratic state, a communist state, or a digital stage.
Yes.
The only problem arises based on the economic system, whether it's capitalism or communism or socialism.
Yes.
So all these people that we have made examples of, when they got into government, they maintained the status quo.
Yes.
They did not want to tamper with the economic system of transforming the economic system.
Yes.
When you listen to, let me take for an example, your Tito Mboweni. He championed something that EFF today, they are proud to talk positive about him, because he spoke of establishment of a national bank, which is the nationalization of the banks.
But that
and
was,
that's why EFF
yes.
that's why EFF speaks so high about him.
But then what happened
Other
after he
aspect-
became a governor on that aspect?
No. That argument of making a national bank,
Yes.
he did it when he was the finance minister from 2019, and he resigned in 2021, 2022, if
Yes.
I'm not wrong.
Then when he
That's
became
when started
governor?
to champion- Yeah, no, I'll talk about that.
All right.
So what I'm trying to say is that these people, when they got into government in 1994, they protected the neoliberal system. And some of them, instead of transforming the economy, they only reformed it. So when you look at the roles of the Titos and many others, they did not bring transformation. Now, there is a difference between transformation and reformation.
Yeah.
Reformation is like Let something remain as it is, but you edit it here and there. But it remains as it was. The edit may not be major, but transformation is like revolution. It's a total change of the system.
Yeah.
So, so when Tito became the Minister of Labor during Mandela's time, and later on he became the Minister of the Governor of Reserve Bank, and then the Finance Minister, he championed the neoliberal programs or policies. That is why you saw South Africa going all out to seek funds from IMF with a structural adjustment of a deepening crisis, because IMF are the masters of capital.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, for an example, a person like Tito, you will acknowledge and mourn and celebrate him because he changed the labor laws in South Africa.
Into what?
He changed them. Yeah, into something that was much better than those that existed during apartheid.
Yeah.
One thing, the analysis that we must do about the ruling party, the ANC, we must give them credit. They are very good at developing good policies. But as to whether those policies advance and changes the lives of our people, it's something else. So, and the weakest part of the ANC is to turn policy into action. Because somewhere along the line, capitalism with its stubbornness engulfs some of them.
Yeah.
That is why their true character of participation in the revolution gets diluted.
Yeah.
So we should mourn the passing on of Tito Mboweni, the Krisani, the Sisulu, the Mandela, and everybody, all these people, even the apartheid leaders, because they made their communities to benefit.
Yeah.
They will mourn them. Whilst we as black people will say Pep Botha, P.W. Botha, de Klerk, and Magnus Malan, they were evil. We will not even mourn their passing. You see, because we feel like they did not do justice to us. So, but the point is that there will be a certain sector in society that mourns for the passing on of that person.
Yes.
So with us, it will be like that. But somebody will say, I mourn the passing of this person, but I can't celebrate his life because I will do that partially.
Yes.
And then when you say partially, what do you mean? He says, during the years of struggle, when the individual was not yet deployed, we used to share, we used to live together, we understood our cause of struggle. He was good. But when we went to the other side of the table, we saw a different person.
Yes.
Because he was sent there to transform the economy. Because what we yearn for, it is an economic system that will enable our people to live better.
Exactly.
So you are asking, what is it that Tito Mboweni did when he was the governor of Reserve Bank? Whatever that he did it benefit majority of black people whom he shared the struggle with? It's something, it will be said by few people. Now, when you say he has transformed and developed new policies when he was the Minister of Labor, do the current workers benefit from that? Yes.
Yeah.
But who benefits? Is it those who are employed? And is the current government and future government going to ensure the implementation of such policies to the latter? Then that becomes the role of those who will be in government. Hence, I'm saying the ANC is good in developing good policies. But on the action and the actualization of that, it is moving at a snail pace. So all of us, when we participate on this matter, we should then ask, under which term and the era of their lives do we celebrate them? And under which period in their lives do we say, here, they did not do as activists as the masses of our people expected them to do? So now, why the celebration? So I'm done with the mourning.
Yes.
Now, why the celebration?
Yes.
You know, when one has done a lot for his people, they will say we must celebrate his life. We don't have to mourn because this was a life worth living, and we have benefited from that.
Yes.
Let's take Mandela. Out of 100%, if you ask South Africans,
Yeah.
how much can you award Mandela?
Mm.
And if they give you anything above 51, then it is worth celebrating his life.
Mm.
Now, if it is 51 plus,
Mm.
the 51 dominant, it's like at least under Mandela, we got one, two, three, four. But
Yes.
what about 49?
Yes.
Now, that's where we have reservations. So, my analysis when I saw the topic, I said, we must then dissect when do we celebrate and when do we not celebrate.
Yes.
And it should not only be political activists.
Mm.
It can be leaders at churches.
Yeah.
When you have a pastor, a reverend, an evangelist, or whoever, when you are there, how many souls did he save?
Mm.
How many newly born children did he baptize? How many people, congregants, did he teach the gospel?
Yeah.
And how many did he bless their weddings? And how many did he bury? But I know somewhere along the line, even these men of the cloth, they sometimes do the mistake. That is why now and again they will be deployed from one church to another.
Yeah.
Because at times members of the congregants of the congregation of the church are not happy about him.
Mm-hmm.
But when the individual is dead, you see members of the society being divided. Some will say, despite his wrongdoing, he has blessed, he taught me, he did this for my family, for me, or whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we celebrate a life that was worth living. So you can talk about, look at Ray McKay,
Macaulay. Yeah.
the pastor Macaulay of Rima Church.
Rima, yes.
What did he do? Yeah, so the percentage it will always differ. Look at Bishop Tutu. But there are people who say, but Bishop Tutu did harm to Mama Winnie Mandela when Mama was at TRC. Now, how much do you award him? And is the award not worth celebrating? Let's look at Chris Hani. Let's look at all that we can think of. So the mourning is compulsory. We should mourn. But when it comes to the celebration, as society, we become divided. And when you check and say, let's look at what causes the division, there are those that benefited from this person in terms of developing policies, advancing the lives of people, in terms of there are those who have negative views about him and say, no, it is not worth celebrating this person. But if an individual is declared a renowned, notorious person, very bad, it will be difficult for people to celebrate such life. Thank you.
But then let's go back, Mr. Machoy, to people like Bo Gaga Butelezi. Let's go back to people like Pravin Gordhan. Let's go to people like Bonamututambo in Hormari. Are we really, can we celebrate such life? Back to Bo Barkimang, Bo Bontate to himself, comparing the celebration that I can do for Chris Hani, Oliver Tambo, celebration I can do for Mama Winnie Mandela. Can I really celebrate the very same celebration, hey, with people like that? People who had their fingers in every pie in this country, but then but refusing us a state bank. By the way, Tito Mboweni refused the state bank when he was a governor, but when he was not a governor, he was advocating for that. When he got to the Reserve Bank, he said, there's not going to be a state bank. And here we are, still under the mercy of FNB, Standard Bank, and others. You know, killing us with interest, charging black people more than their white counterparts. Are we really going to sit here? Mourning is something else. It's like, I don't even have to show that I'm mourning. But celebration, that people, people like Bo Mbalula here, Buahori, is a loss to this country. what loss are we talking about? Him shaping the economy of this country to where it is today. To benefit who exactly? That's the question that I was asking my previous caller who was speaking to. So tell me, should I really celebrate the life of Pravin Gordhan? Should I really celebrate? Should I stand there and lie and say this person is like this is a loss? This is a loss really for this country. Should I do that? And then compare and put him and Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Owar Tambo, and the rest who passed before this whole nonsense around the Itoma, and the one who was here, Bo Chris Hani, Bo Steve Biko. Are these people in the same caliber of celebration from black people?
No, I hear you, Hossein, and your listeners and those who participated. And then pardon me that I could not participate and listen to the previous participants. But all I'm saying, all I'm saying is that, and even when we talk about activists, we must say activists during which era, because our people will always give Chris Hani 80%.
Yes.
Because maybe the other side of Chris Hani, maybe, suppose we could have lived beyond 1993. Chris Hani, maybe when he got into parliament, we don't know that the system could have also absorbed him. So so we need to be careful when you compare Chris Hani and Tito Mboweni today, who served in this government. It will be unfair to compare those who never enjoyed the fruits of being deployed in parliament. You see? So we should then say, let's take the Chris Hanis, let's take the Steve Bikos, let's take the whoever, those who did not, the O.R. Tambo, because they never got in the promised land. And then there for sure, their percentages will be higher because our people might not have seen their betrayal. But, because like I was saying, before the coming in of new government democracy, they were all our brothers. We were sharing this thing. They denounced apartheid. They denounced neoliberal system and policies. They denounced capitalism. But as soon as they got into parliament, it's like, I don't know, there was a shift where some of them seem to be protecting the status quo. Others, instead of transforming it, they reformed it. So when you listen to when you read about the lives of Tito Mboweni, I think Brafosta did say something. When it starts, you like the man. You like the man. But as soon as they got into government, what happened? And that's where they will always rate lower than the Christians.
Yes.
See? Now, there were those who refused to be absorbed by the system. And those people, they give us a hope that maybe even Christian will not have agreed to be absorbed. But it's a maybe case. Let's look at Mama Winnie. Mama Winnie, you could tell that even when he was deployed as the Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture, and even when she was deployed as an MP and serving, she disagreed with the government on a number of things. Mama said, we fought against the construction of box of mattresses, which are said to be houses for our people.
Yes.
And then she said, when you come with this new concept of RDP, why don't you build our people nice, affordable, accommodative houses?
Yes, exactly.
Proper houses like white people did for their own people. And then it was like, no, those who wanted to defend, they said, we don't have the money that we have and those that and the debts that we need to service and everything that whatever justification they brought. Instead of building the 2-room, 3 rooms of RDP, which will amount to 1 million houses within a certain period of time, as against what you, Winnie Up, is proposing, will only build 13,000 houses.
Yes.
And then, because there are those who then agreed, hence you see our people were given this new box of matches, the RDP houses.
Yes.
Look at the type of schools that we are building. Look at the type of roads that we are constructing under the new government. That is why our people will make a comparison between that and the third roads that were tarred and constructed during apartheid. You look at the quality.
Yes.
So it's all about our leaders have been engulfed by the system, and some will go all out to defend it. When you speak of Mbalula, he's now the spokesperson. Mbalula is the spokesperson of GNU, together with McKenzie. And the person who's benefiting from GNU, who is your Helen Zille, she calls it as it is. It's a coalition. It's a coalition. But put it aside. But there are people who are saying, look at the SACP today. In this thing, because they're saying this is betrayal. This is betrayal. So what I'm saying, back to your topic. Let's see those who participated with us during the trenches and died. Or they were never deployed. And when they speak the very same issues before they are deployed, people will say, no, they are beaten because they have not tasted the gravy train. Now, let's talk about those we shared the trenches with and they got into government. How many of them fought for the realization of what they fought for? There's very few. Majority defended the neoliberal policies. Look, how many ministers? Today, was it yesterday or during the weekend rather, when the SACP denounced and said they are not going to attend the 100-day celebration of GNU. Next to Mapaila, it was Blade Zimandi. And many people were saying, but Blade is the minister. What is Blade saying? And then what Fikile Mbalula did, he attacked with the intention to isolate Solly Mapaila. Solly Mapaila, when he goes to conferences of COSATU and whatsoever, he does not speak his mind. He's echoing the view of the Central Committee. That is why today on radio, they trying to say, no, the GS is not echoing his personal views. This is the view of the Central Committee. But if we were there, we will know what is it that Blade said. Maybe Blade did defend, or maybe Blade does agree with the Communist Party that the GNU it's a nonsense. The ANC could have somehow, despite the challenges, worked gradually with the MK and EFF, whilst acknowledging their hardline position of EFF wanting to dictate that Cyril Ramaphosa must not be the president, like MK, this and that and that and that. But for us, from a political point of view, for us to have worked with DA, it is neither a strategic setback and a tactical breakthrough. It can't be. At no point will we ever do that. More especially when we had a chance. We had a chance to formulate a new government excluding a DA. You take all the smaller political party and maybe take EFF or MK or whatsoever. And then elders must intervene on the differences that exist between the Zumas, the Cyril, the Mbekis, the whatever, and whoever. Not whatever. Sorry, and whoever. The elders must intervene. The Veterans League, the Ngwenya of ANC, they need to bring the Khalima Motan, they need to bring all these people to the table and say, your cat fight does not assist the country. It doesn't. So what I'm saying, now let's go to Pravin. What is it that Pravin did? Because those will tell you about Pravin, and in most cases, during the memorial service and the burial ceremony of these people more often they tell us about the role that these people did during apartheid, during the struggle. There we can credit them. They were our heroes. But the problem started when they went into government. They got engulfed, absorbed by the system. And that's where the problem is. And I understand where you are coming from. to say, should we celebrate them? So they will be celebrated with reservations.
Yes, of course, they should be valid, because now I don't understand why should we go all out and okay, and what I understand the concept of not speaking ill of the dead, yeah, that happens, it's fine, but then politicians are not honored people like you and me, Mr. Majoy. They are there to serve a purpose that they said themselves they will do. Do you understand? And they didn't do it. So for me to really stand there and keep working, hey, it's a great loss to the country. When I know what you stood for, that for me is hypocrisy. That's for me. It's the same as the selling out they've done to us. When they were giving shares, they should have refused. In my previous call, to Mandela, they should have said no. We don't want those Nobel Peace Prizes, especially if I'm gonna take it in next to de Klerk. I can't do that. But we were more in a hurry to please other people, to please the West, to please white people in Europe and in America, in betrayal of our own people here at home. I don't think Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela was so happy when that man got that Nobel Peace Prize. I don't think she was happy.
No, she was not happy. She was not happy.
Especially now being given next to this man called Hitler. How do you accept it? That was the first lollipop, Mebra, to be given to Mandela. That was the first lollipop to be given to him. Because that prize, by the way, I left that gold coin, it some money, like $1 million, I think. It comes with $1 million or whatever. I don't know how much is it nowadays. So it was the first lollipop to say, take this, keep quiet. Because you cannot go against. I mean, remember, after that, there was no more radicalization of anything. There was no more legislation of the minds. There was now, Tutu came back and screamed Rainbow Nation. I wonder, were they sitting there, no, Bon, I think let's scream Rainbow Nation. Then maybe they will understand. What's your take?
In actual fact, in one of the documents that I once read, it is said that Tito Mboweni was part of the team when Mandela went to America. I think it was before the elections, if I'm not wrong, where he was part of the team that scrapped off the issue of nationalization.
Yes.
Remember, ANC has always advocated for the nationalization of the strategic means of production. And then when Mandela was to give a speech there, they edited it. I once heard that, and yes. I saw it as betrayal to Mandela, because those were the people who were writing the speech for Mandela.
Tito Mboweni is said to be the one who actually edited the thing. Got divorce. He took out the nationalization of this and all those things. Yeah.
Yes. So you see that thing. That on its own, to me, it gave me a problem. So whether when he was the labor minister, whether when he was the governor, whether what, it's late. There are some people who are saying, despite everything, I know Zuma was fighting the capitalist group within the ANC, NEC. But he had powers.
Yes.
That is why when you listen to him, he says, but Zuma failed us. He had the majority votes, and we are going to offer them our vote to amend Section 25 and do all these things, all that.
Maroti, Mr. Majoy,
some of the
yes. I saw a tweet, Yaha Mzwangele Manyi, Abonta, a Daily Maverick article, which was confirming that actually Zuma wanted the ANC to take over the EFF offer, and the NEC refused. He's the one who said they must take over the offer, and he refused. And there's a whole article there confirming that. And then he says,
I once read it. I once read it.
Yes.
But because he's the executive, he should have just gone there. But we know, with the ANC as the they call it the broad church, with all this. That is why people were saying, one of the reasons Mantashe is saying, Zuma, you can say whatever that you can say about him. He's not afraid to take decisions. But because of the leakages and people not being disciplined, that is why President Zuma used to make decisions in the evening.
Ali one, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people delayed and betrayed him.
Yes.
Now, with the energy that is coming with from MK, people are saying, some people are saying, but he could have done that when he was the president. They don't acknowledge that it's when he was the president, because there were people who were fighting him and they were very strong.
Yeah.
So that was the challenge that we had. And the question is, had he done that, how have the country benefited? We need to ask ourselves, for President Ramaphosa, with whatever that he does, strategic or tactical, how are the ordinary South Africans benefiting?
Exactly.
People were saying, if Tito did good, in whose interest and benefit? You see,
I was asking that question, yes. I was asking that question, if you are so good for this economy, for who? Who is benefiting more in this beautiful economy of theirs?
So I'm recharging my activism as an aspirant communist.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that we need to advocate, to say the problem is not government per se. Whether it's a democratic or whatever. But let's focus on the economic policy and system that we want to advocate and advance.
Of course.
And in whose interest. So the celebration will always differ. But you, no matter what media and other houses want to project, you could tell that our people had some lot of reservations about the Pravin Gordhan. It's only the Mbalulas and the few who wanted to project him, but our people were saying, with what they did in terms of the state-owned enterprises and other things, we are not happy. So the rating will change. So you will have some people celebrating him, but majority not celebrating him.
Yeah.
Tito Mboweni, we are likely to see it. And we normally will always see how people viewed you when you were alive, particularly when you are dead.
Yes.
We'll always get a reflection of how people viewed you. You and I can stand here and say Mandela is a sellout, but look what our people held Mandela in high regard, Mama Winnie in high regard, and many others. And but there are those that you can tell that, but this person being a national hero, and with this, and you also look at the role of media houses that is being captured and controlled by capitalists, then you see that they are trying very hard to project this person to be good. So you will remain a hero amongst these family members and selected people who benefited from him. But if the person is a hero, you will see, and you don't have to mobilize people to say, no, let's go and attend. People thought people have forgotten and dislike Winnie Mandela. And media wanted to do everything. But when Winnie Mandela passed on, when his coffin was heading towards the Orlando Stadium, it was raining. And our people stood there and say, this was and is still mother of the nation. Yeah. Despite what you want to do. So the celebration will be there, Jose.
Yeah.
The celebration will be there.
Yes.
But if you are to gauge, we'll see on how people react on your last day on earth. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Joy. Unfortunately, I've come to the end, man. Because I was about 10, like you always do. I wanted to end up here, be like the way Muswaiti used to end up about first 9. But with you, I know we can take 3 hours talking about this thing and really engaging meaningfully and really getting the best. Because I know when I have you, I've got the whole package. But remember, thank you so very much for today. Hopefully, when we do this again soon, you will be available for the whole 2 hours and can be able to give us some more insights.
I'll be available.
All right.
I'll be available.
Thank you, Kosiaka. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Moren. That was Mr. Machoi Mungale, the one. If you're watching it on Facebook, on YouTube now, you can see the picture. His picture is hey, where's that picture? Yeah, this picture here. Is this picture there? Mr. Machoi Mungale, political activist. I'm going to have him on the show one time to interview him about his journey, because he is the principal of a school, but I think he's going to be going to work at the second office of that school. So there's a lot of things that happened, Mr. Machoi, but I will talk to him one day, and I'll make Ketla Mirela an interview that you guys can be able to hear his journey and how he came to where he is today. Well, that's today's show, guys. That is today's show, and first and foremost, thank you so very much about you guys tuning in and really being with us. And it's make up your minds. You tell me. Comment now on WhatsApp or 64548-776, or comment now on our YouTube page, and please don't forget to subscribe as well. Comment and tell us what you think. Do you think these people are worth celebrating, or are they just one of those things that you just throw in heaps of dustbin of history? That okay, fine, you were here, you ate, you became a billionaire in your time. You are the ones who actually benefited from this democracy than anybody else. So hey, here you are. You are happy. Be happy. You ate. You are billionaires now. You're in every company in this country, every white monopoly company. The JSE knows you forever. Yeah. So to help others who did not be able to come near that little compromise of having what is good for them, as you promised them. You're the one who said to people, free education, free housing, free this, free that, free this, free that, free this, free. We have overly compromised in this country. It's not even funny. From our judiciary system up until now, I've just read this little snippet of Border Day, where a whole attorney general, that is the NPA, that is Batoyi today, saying, I cannot prosecute an 80-year-old man, knowing what his health circumstances. Why not say the same thing about Jacob Zuma? He was the same age almost when this whole thing started. Why not say the same thing about him like that? Why use the very same law to prosecute your own brother and destroy him? Because you have been bored, because you have compromised, because you have sold out so differently, so terribly. You have compromised yourself, Mama. I mean, how happy are you at the moment in that pension of yours where you're getting millions from our taxpayers' money? How happy are you that, you know what, I actually destroyed Jacob Zuma. My last act as a judge was to throw an old man, 80-something years old, with health complications, into prison, a whole state president. You did that. And I hope you're happy wherever you are. So these people now, for me, they're not worth celebrating. I don't care. I'm not going to celebrate them in any shape or form. Why would I do that? Celebrate what exactly? That you are a billionaire, private, your daughter is a billionaire as well, but you are questioning where does Durizana got his money from, and you are questioning, you took Malema's everything. You took Malema's farms, you took Malema's everything. You made that boy form the EFF, which became more of a pain on this country and on this economy, and so not economy, on this parliament and on here up until today. You created a monster. That boy was in retirement. He was gone. He was enjoying his own things there. You came after him. But your daughter is busy chowing the money here in treasury, here in town. We know that. Yeah. So, guys, kids, you decide for yourselves. Horona, what do you think about this whole thing? Do you think these people really deserve to be celebrated, or do you think what? So, kid, let's continue the conversation. All right. And tell me down below in the comments again that what you want us to talk about more. And then if you want to be a guest, like the two guests I have today on the studio, please let me know on 064-548-776 or on the comments below. And then we'll take it from there. But for me, Kosti Songwane, thank you so very much for taking your time and your data for being with us today. I love you so much. Have a very good night. Bye-bye.